What is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Wednesday, November 9th slate of NBA action. Man, I'm super excited to dive into it. We actually have a pretty decent slate on as of today. It's pretty action-packed. We have a lot of games going on. We actually have some pretty good matchups. We'll go ahead and talk about some of those here in just a minute. But before we did, I did just want to go ahead and say we are still currently on the road to 8,000 subscribers. We're less than 150 away at the time of recording this video. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, and thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so much more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, we had a bounce-back day. Oh my goodness, we needed that so bad. We have had very, very rough days over the past week, but we bounced back. We started off the week with a W, with a lot of W's. It was a great day overall, an absolutely fantastic day overall, and I'm super excited that we did it. So let's go ahead and talk about it just a little bit. So, we did have our first King's Kill Shot win of the year as well. We had Devin Booker over 26.5 points versus Philadelphia at -115. Now, I'm glad that he ended up hitting this in the third quarter because he actually did not score in the fourth. But Devin Booker, he's just, especially with Chris Paul, ended up getting injured right in the middle of that game. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious. But with that being said, Devin Booker took over that third quarter. He was hitting some pretty great shots. And Devin Booker is just such a smooth player. It was just, he had to go off, and even though they ended up losing by double digits, he still saw plenty of shot opportunities. He still saw plenty of minutes. It was a great spot for Devin Booker, and he ended up coming through for us. So, shout out Devin Booker for getting us our first official King's Kill Shot win of the year. Then we did end up having SGA over 38.5 PRAs versus Detroit at -110. This was a no sweat. This was not even like a sliver of a sweat. This was one of the most sweat-free bets that I've had all year long. He ended up with I remember his halftime stat line. He had 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. He was already at 34 by the time that halftime hit. It was just a matter of time. I just had to wait and see when I was going to put the official tweet out. But that was absolute no sweat. He was absolutely cooking versus Detroit. And it was good to see. I love Shea. He's probably my second favorite player in the NBA, so it was really good to see him get going. Then we did end up having Brandon Ingram over 23.5 points versus the Pacers at +100 odds. So a little bit of a plus value hit. And it ended up working out for us as well. I know that he had a pretty slow start to the beginning of the game, but he was able to turn it around. And in that fourth quarter, he actually had 9 straight points, or not straight, but he ended up having 9 points in the fourth quarter to be able to hit this over. Definitely was a good look. I'm glad that I was able to get that at +100. I knew somebody from the Pelicans was going to go off. All of their lines were high. I just wasn't sure exactly which one. Well, everyone's overhit besides for CJ McCollum. So, if you end up having CJ, I do apologize. He finished with just 9 points, so it was definitely a tough scene. Then we had the Heat, -7, versus the Trailblazers at -110. Did not end up working out for us. The Heat held anywhere from a 7 to 10 point lead for most of the game, and then in the final stretch, literally the final 2-3 minutes, they let it all go. Trailblazers come down. Josh Hart ends up hitting a game-winning 3. It was an absolutely electric game. Definitely a fun one to watch, but we did end up losing our bet at the end of the day. But we ended up going 3-1. That's pretty solid. We ended up going 3-1. We even hit a plus value play. So overall, we had a great day. So hopefully we can go ahead and get that going once again. As you guys can see here, I got the dress shirt on, all right? I got the dress shirt on, I got the tie on, and you know that means business, all right? We mean business around here, and even with that being said, we'll even throw on the glasses. Why not? So we got the glasses on today, got the dress shirt on today, got the black tie on today, because it's going to be a funeral here for these books. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's plays. So for our King's Kill Shot play of the day, we're going with De'Aaron Fox. We're taking his under 35.5 PRAs here versus Cleveland at -125 odds. Now, this is one of the worst possible matchups here for a guy like De'Aaron Fox. First things first, he is 2-3 to this line in his last 5 games, so he has been okay, but he has hit the under a lot more often than he has hit the over. And with that being said, he does have a finish right on the hook as well. So With that being said, these numbers are kind of, kind of skewed. He has only hit the under in 2 of his last 5, but he does have a finish right on the hook. So it's definitely close either way. But this is a very, very tough matchup here versus Cleveland. First things first, Cleveland allows the 3rd fewest points per game to opposing teams. Literally are locked down when it comes to allowing teams to score just in general. Also, they have the 2nd best defensive efficiency in the entire NBA. With both of those stats, lock me in, okay? De'Aaron Fox is a great player, but if he's not going to be able to score, it's going to be very tough for him to be able to get to 35.5 PRAs. Also, Cleveland on the road allows the 3rd fewest points per game in the paint. And that's a key point because obviously De'Aaron Fox, I love De'Aaron Fox. He's definitely one of my favorite players personally. But one thing that he doesn't really do super well is shoot the 3-ball. He has gotten a lot better over his time here in the NBA. But he still doesn't love to shoot it. He loves to get to the basket. He loves to finish around the rim, stuff like that. But with that being said, look who's in the paint. They're going to have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in there. They're going to have very tall, lengthy wings too. It's going to be very tough. I know that he is going to have Garland on him, which isn't necessarily the greatest matchup, but he has a lot of rim protection there. So even if De'Aaron Fox does do what he loves and drives the basketball, it's going to be a tough day for Mr. De'Aaron Fox. So I do like it. Also, Cleveland allows the 2nd fewest points per game to point guards, the 8th fewest rebounds per game to point guards, and the 13th fewest assists per game to point guards. All of these stats are screaming at me under. I love this game. I love this play. So that is going to be our King's Kill Shot play of the day. De'Aaron Fox under 35.5 PRAs versus Cleveland at minus 125 odds. Now for our second play of the day, we're taking a former Bull, baby. We're going Lauri Markkanen over 20.5 points here versus Atlanta at minus 105. Also, I'm putting a side bet in. This one's just for me. It's not official, but I am putting in a side bet. I'm going to put 1/4 of a unit on Lauri Markkanen double-double at plus 160 odds. I love this play, and here's why. Lauri Markkanen has already hit this over 7 times on the year. But I think this is a really good buy low spot here for Lauri Markkanen because the Hawks allow the most points per game in the entire NBA to the power forward position. John Collins, I know he's a great player overall, but he has not been good defensively. And I think that Lauri Markkanen, with the way that he stretches the floor, with the way that he shoots the ball here recently, especially since his time in Utah, it's going to make things tough for Mr. Collins. John Collins, he's much more of a shot blocker or like a shot contester. And I just think that it's going to be a tough matchup. I think Lauri Markkanen can definitely get it done here for us. And if you take a look at it, by the way, the Hawks also do allow the 4th most rebounds per game to opposing power forwards, which is why I love the double-double prop. But without any further ado, also, if you do want to do a little bit of line reading here with me, the Hawks, they're coming off of a 19-point win here versus the Bucks. Huge win. The Hawks are only 3.5-point favorites here over the Jazz. So, with that being said, they expect this game to be close. And if this game is going to be close at all, Lauri Markkanen is going to have at least a decent night. And with that being said, I definitely think he can get 20 for us. We're just asking for him to get 21 points, and I think he can do that no problem whatsoever. I really love this spot here. Atlanta also plays at the 6th fastest pace in the entire NBA. I think this is a great spot here for Lauri Markkanen. Somebody is going to be getting a lot of shots, and I think it's going to be Lauri. He's been very consistent for this team. He's been very good overall, and I don't see why he should not get any of these points. So I really do like it. I think it's a really good spot here for Mr. Markkanen. So we're going to be riding with it. Lauri Markkanen over 20.5 points here versus Atlanta at minus 105 odds. Now for our third and final player prop of the day, we're taking another points prop. We're going Michael Porter Jr. over 16.5 points here versus the Pacers at minus 105 odds. Now, if you take a look at it, Michael Porter Jr. has been really solid to this line. He has actually hit the over in 7 of his last 8 games on the year. So he's been very, very solid when it comes to this line specifically. The Pacers, they also allow the 4th most points per game to opposing small forwards. At that small forward position, despite them having some pretty decent defenders, at the small forward position, they really do lack that. They give up a lot of points there. And also, they do allow the 9th most three-pointers per game to small forwards. Now, why this is important? Michael Porter Jr. loves to shoot threes. he has shot at least 5 threes in every single game this year besides for opening night. So with that being said, he shot a ton. He shot a ton of threes. There was even games where he shot double-digit threes. I think he had like 2 or 3 games on the year where he shot double-digit threes. And that's huge if the Pacers really do give up this many three-pointers. So I think it's a really good spot here. The over-under is set to 235.5, super high once again. The Nuggets lines have just been super high recently. Their over-unders have been crazy. But also, Indiana does give up the 3rd most points per game to opposing teams in general. They give up a ton of points. Indiana is also 11th in pace just in general. A pretty big pace-up spot here for the Nuggets. So I think it's a really good spot to target. So we're going to be riding with it. Michael Porter Jr. over 16.5 points here versus the Pacers at minus 105 odds. Now for our 4th and final play of the day, we're taking the Knicks. Team total under 111.5 here versus Brooklyn at minus 120 odds. Now this is a really good spot here because Brooklyn has surprisingly been clamping down the other teams here recently. If you take a look at it, Brooklyn allows the 12th fewest points per game to opposing teams on the year, but in their last 3 games, they have not let a team hit over 100 points. They are allowing the fewest points per game in the entire NBA in their last 3 games. They've been great defensively in their last 3. And I think this is a really good buy high option here for the Knicks. The Knicks have hit their over in 2 straight games, both versus pretty fast-paced teams in Boston and Minnesota. This is going to be a huge slowdown spot here for New York. Brooklyn is 24th when it comes to pace. They definitely play at a super slow pace in comparison to Boston and Minnesota. So I think it's a pretty good spot. Also, despite the Knicks going over in their last 2 games, before that they went under in 4 straight. So, it's just a matter of time before they do start to digress down again. I think they're due for it. Also, the Nets have held their opponent to under this total, 111.5, in 5 straight games. They've been very, very good. The Knicks also average 9 fewer points per game on the road. They're a much better team there in Madison Square Garden. And I know they're not traveling super far, just over to Brooklyn, but still, overall, I think that it's a pretty good spot here for the Knicks. So we are going to be riding with it. Knicks team total under 111.5 here versus Brooklyn at minus 120 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we are still currently on the road to 8,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. And that's going to do it for me. This is King Sander signing out. Peace.